The brutal violence of the Second Seminole War eventually faded, leaving behind a vast, quiet pine scrub ripe for civilian pioneers. Before 1853, the area we now recognize as Sumter County was just a massive, unorganized southern expanse of Marion County. It was slowly filling with farmers seeking untouched agricultural land. But piecing together how these early settlers built a local government reveals a serious problem. The historical record is a constant collision between romanticized local civic traditions and the rigid paperwork of distant state lawmakers. This diagram displays the strict verification framework we use to test every historical claim. We sort the past into three distinct tiers: locked statutory facts, cautious pioneer lore, and completely open historical gaps. Uncovering the true origin of Sumter County means navigating a maze of misspelled laws, shrinking borders, and timelines that contradict basic logic. We start with a locked statutory fact. On January 8, 1853, the Florida legislature officially chartered Sumter as the state's 29th county. The new territory was named in honor of General Thomas Sumter, a prominent military commander and hero of the American Revolutionary War. Yet, the very state bureaucracy that created the county couldn't manage to spell its name correctly. Early official documents and legal ledgers repeatedly recorded the new jurisdiction as Sumpter, inserting an extra P right in the middle. This verified typo perfectly illustrates the reality of 19th century frontier administration. Orthography was fluid, record-keeping was messy, and government standards were highly chaotic. If the state couldn't accurately write down the name of its newest county, governing the actual land would prove just as difficult. The physical shape of the newly minted county was also highly unstable. Upon its creation in 1853, the territorial boundaries extended much further east and south than they do today. This 1855 map shows the massive original footprint of the county, encompassing major bodies of water like Lake Eustis, Yale, and Griffin. But we must treat this cartography with strict caution. Researchers often mistakenly assume these borders were permanent. This animated diagram illustrates why those maps are deceptive. In 1887, the state legislature severed a colossal swath of that eastern territory to create modern-day Lake County. Treating an 1855 map publication as the final word on the county's boundaries creates a severe historical inaccuracy. It blurs the reality of a constantly shrinking pioneer footprint. As the county tried to formalize its identity within those shrinking borders, early administrative nodes began to emerge. One of the first was a pioneer gathering spot called Adamsville. Local civic lore frequently references a specific 1839 log cabin. Tradition holds that this structure served as Sumter's very first county courthouse. There is a severe chronological problem with that claim. Since the county wasn't legally created until 1853, a building constructed in 1839 could not possibly have been built as a courthouse. The evidence-based reality is much more practical. The cabin was simply a pre-existing community space, likely used for religious meetings or early schooling, that pioneers eventually repurposed for administrative duties 14 years later. This impossible timeline demonstrates exactly why historians must clearly separate hard statutory facts from romanticized pioneer lore. By the mid-19th century, Sumter County was operating on incredibly fragile ground. It had a legal charter containing a glaring typo, a massive border that was about to be cut in half, and a retrofitted government running out of a borrowed log cabin. These early administrative foundations were legally unsustainable. You cannot manage a modernizing, rapidly growing agricultural region without an official, dedicated center of government. To survive the coming decades, the county desperately needed to establish a legally unshakable, permanent capital. The search for that permanent home would spark the bitterest political conflict in the region's history. This diagram previews the litigious war for the county seat. Next time, we track the decades-long battle that bounced the capital between Leesburg, Sumterville, and Bushnell, culminating in a landmark showdown at the Florida Supreme Court. Then, a catastrophic 1909 fire swallows 30 years of official ledgers in a single afternoon, creating a permanent archival black hole that haunts historians today.